talking portraiture, e-products, auto editing, e-templates, educational videos for shooting smarter, not harder, at thephotochannel.pro.
Is using legacy glass on a mirrorless camera a great option? Well, not really. A lot of photographers think that they've got their DSLR kit, and as they want to move into the future and add a mirrorless camera, they're thinking they want to take a look at a mirrorless camera that will allow them to take advantage of their current legacy glass. Well, I'm more of a Nikon shooter than a Canon shooter, and we still do have plenty of Nikon Pro lenses. Well, when you use a big DSLR lens, like a 70-200 f2.8 lens, on a small camera, you run into a couple of problems. And of course, the easiest one is you're going to have to deal with the awkward size, right? A big lens on a small camera means it's going to be out of balance. You're going to be holding on to the lens and then just touching the camera instead of hanging on to the whole unit as one. All right, you can get over that. The next problem is you're going to need some sort of an adapter. And trust me, all adapters are trouble. Some less trouble than others, but pretty much all are trouble. If you're going to have to take your big beautiful lens, snap on an adapter, and then put that onto your mirrorless camera, you're going to find out that it's a little troublesome because you're going to need more than one adapter in order to make it all work, and there is communication lost in those adapters, right? The image stabilization, for instance, just isn't going to work the same. And it does kind of pigeonhole you into which cameras will fit with your lenses. So the last thing you got to consider is, remember, mirrorless cameras are smaller, and mirrorless cameras have a smaller battery than a DSLR. DSLR glass is big, it has more mass, it takes more energy to autofocus that lenses inside your big old legacy lens. That extra battery consumption takes its toll on your mirrorless camera system and really cuts your runtime down to a very small amount. So here's the idea. I know it's kind of hard to think you got all this money invested in your DSLR stuff, but the bottom line is, once you start realizing that these smaller, lighter mirrorless cameras will make the vast majority of people watching this life a lot easier, and once you get over that whole, sensor size thing, whatever that's all about, you'll realize that a mirrorless camera is going to help you make money faster and easier. And you'll be able to sell your DSLR glass and buy new glass for your mirrorless system. So if you're thinking that now's the time for you to look into mirrorless equipment, I'm with you, but give some thought to selling your DSLR glass while it's still worth a lot of money, then picking up the right lenses for the job. Here's one more point. I remember when you started buying DSLR lenses, if you're a younger person and you're kind of on a tight budget and you bought a cheapy lens because you thought it was going to be just fine, and then you realized it's really not fine because it's not super sharp, or it doesn't autofocus real well, or it didn't hold up, or something about it you didn't like. Right on. Then, when you either rented or borrowed or bought a really good lens and you replaced that crappy lens with a good lens, how much better it was, and you wish you wouldn't have wasted so much time and money earlier in buying the cheapy lens? Well, same thing when we go into mirrorless. It always pays to buy good lenses. So, give some thought to the lenses that you really need, and maybe look at the lens selection first and then fit the right camera to the lenses that will give you the best pictures possible. Just a couple of tips from a guy that's screwed up way more times than you could think you've ever screwed up. I've done it all. Yep. Thanks. Bye.
Talking portraiture, e-products, auto editing, e-templates, educational videos for shooting smarter, not harder, at thephotochannel.pro.